Hi, and welcome to This Is My Architecture. I'm Dave, and I'm here with Roy Arsan. He's a senior solutions architect with Splunk. Roy, what does Splunk do?
Hi, Dave. Splunk is a t-shirt company and a software company, not in that order.
Okay, so tell me about the software piece.
It's a machine data analytics platform. Customers use it to make sense out of their data.
Okay, great, awesome. I love data. So one of the challenges that we were talking about is pulling data from CloudWatch logs at scale. If you hammer away at those APIs, you're going to get throttled. So how do we architect so that we're not doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to be sensitive to rate limits. With CloudWatch logs specifically, the recommended approach is to use a subscription filter for continuous processing and monitoring of that data.
Okay, great. And we have an architecture here, and the suggestion I've seen is to use a Kinesis stream. How do we do that, and what's the value?
Yes. To set the stage here, I'm a customer with tens, if not hundreds of accounts on AWS. So the idea is not just to get the data from CloudWatch logs, but also across N accounts. Kinesis stream is a great candidate to aggregate all this data. What also you want to have is CloudWatch logs destination, which is a concept by CloudWatch logs in order to aggregate data from different accounts.
Okay, great. So we're going to aggregate data in one place, but how do I make sure that only the right people can see data?
Yes, that's the second piece of the problem is once you aggregate all this stuff, you want to make sure that you apply the right access policy to the right data, because one account could be more restricted to other accounts. This is where Splunk comes in, or a platform like Splunk, where you aggregate all this data. You want to be able to segregate it into different buckets, or what we call a Splunk index. You could use these buckets or Splunk index for role-based access control, but also if you want to apply some data retention policy if you have any industry or company compliance requirement.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So now I've got the data into a Kinesis stream. What happens next?
Yeah, so in this case, you have all these accounts with the real-time feed from CloudWatch logs to Kinesis stream. You want to get it into a platform like Splunk for in-depth analysis. We leverage the HTTP event collector, which is a Splunk endpoint, and it just receives HTTPS traffic. And you can send it to Splunk directly without having any agent running on your system.
So that's really cool. I know a lot of customers get a little weird about agents, so this gives you an opportunity to do that. But what about Lambda? How does that fit in there?
Yes, good observation. So Lambda is typically used to process, transform the data. But in this case, it's just forwarding data along to Splunk. We have Lambda blueprints in the Lambda console, so you can get started really easily with already pre-built code. In this case, one thing I would like to add is you may want to map that data depending on its originating account or its originating VPC, or whichever mapping you would like to do so that it ends up in the right bucket or index for the proper access control.
So we have the right lineage on it, right?
Yes.
So what if I wanted to get rid of Lambda? Is there anything on the horizon that'll help me out here?
Yes, absolutely. So Lambda is great. We love it. But you still are managing your code or function, or you may have even some throttling limit you're going to hit. At the same time, Kinesis stream, you're still managing a resource here. You want to make sure it's properly provisioned. All in all, it's low maintenance. But what I love about working with AWS as a partner is we are very customer-centric in everything we do. So we decided, let's just make this simpler, throw the Lambda piece out, and then leverage the Firehose delivery system.
Awesome.
So I'm happy to share that Splunk and AWS partnered together to build this native integration between Kinesis Firehose to Splunk. So you don't have to manage any stream, you don't have to manage any Lambda processing, and then send it straight to Splunk. You can set it up as a point-and-click flow from the console directly.
I love it. Two customer-centric companies building cool stuff for customers. So that really gives us like a push model, right? Now, what if I wanted to do something similar, except I had to pull the data, like say, something from an S3 bucket?
Yeah, great question. S3 bucket is another high-volume, high-value data source from AWS. And we've been pulling data from S3 since its inception, like access logs or CloudTrail data. CloudTrail data, again, you have to apply the same concept of cross-account aggregation. and you also have to have the per account or per data source segregation for access control. You don't want to have dissemination of sensitive audit trail to the wrong people.
Right.
So same concept applies in terms of the goals we're after here, but it's a totally different data pipeline, like you mentioned. In this case, it's a pull mechanism where as data gets written to S3, we receive notification via the queue. Splunk has processes that is monitoring the queue and just doing long polling, basically. And whenever something gets written, we'll be notified and we pull it. So this is as near real time as it can get to get data from CloudTrail to Splunk for in-depth analysis.
Awesome. So you've shown us both a push and a pull. We're segregating, aggregating, keeping things secure all the way along. How do I get Splunk? What's the easiest way?
Best way to get started with Splunk is to go on the AWS Marketplace, search for Splunk, and you have the Splunk AMIs right there.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for coming out today. And thank you for watching This Is My Architecture.